Maya's breath caught. A threat? I'm just a mother trying to survive. Why would they come after me? Officer Collins' expression was grim. They see you as a loose end. Marcus's arrest put you on their radar, and they don't take risks when it comes to protecting their business. The weight of his words hit Maya like a punch. She couldn't believe this was happening. Her life had just started to turn around, and now she was facing a threat she never could have imagined. "What am I supposed to do?" she whispered, looking at Collins with wide, fearful eyes. "We're going to protect you," Collins said firmly. "We've arranged for you and Jordan to move to a safe house. We can't take any chances. This is serious." Maya sat in shock, her mind racing. Moving to a safe house, leaving everything behind, it seemed impossible. But deep down, she knew there was no other option. The next morning, Maya and Jordan packed what little they could. Collins drove them to the safe house himself, his presence steadying Maya's nerves. The house was small, tucked away in a quiet neighborhood far from their home, but it was safe. As Maya unpacked Jordan's clothes, the weight of their situation sank in. "Mom, why are we moving again? Is everything okay?" Jordan asked, his young eyes full of concern. Maya knelt down and brushed a strand of hair from his face. "It's just for a little while, baby. We need to stay somewhere safe, that's all. But I promise, everything's going to be okay." Jordan nodded, trusting her completely. But as Maya looked into his eyes, she couldn't shake the feeling that things were far from okay. Weeks passed, and they slowly adjusted to life in the safe house. Collins checked in regularly, providing updates on the investigation and reassuring Maya that they were closing in on the criminal ring. But the anxiety never left her. Every day felt like a ticking time bomb, with the constant fear of something going wrong. One evening, after Jordan had fallen asleep, there was a knock at the door. Maya opened it to find Officer Collins standing there, accompanied by 2 detectives. "We need to talk," Collins said, his tone more serious than ever. They sat down at the small kitchen table, and one of the detectives began. "We've made progress in the investigation into Marcus's activities, and we've uncovered something unexpected. Marcus hid a flash drive in your apartment, one with key information about his criminal network. That's why they were targeting you." Maya's stomach lurched. "A flash drive? I had no idea it was there." The detective nodded. "It was hidden well. We found it during a search. The information on it is enough to bring down the entire operation. But Marcus had intended to use it as leverage to make a deal with the authorities. He just didn't have time before his arrest." Maya felt sick. Marcus had been using her apartment as a hiding place for incriminating evidence, and now she was in the crossfire because of it. "What now?" she asked, barely able to speak. "We're closing in on the ring," Collins said, "but it's dangerous. The information on the drive puts a target on both Marcus and anyone close to him, including you. But if you cooperate, we can ensure your safety and take down the entire operation." Maya's heart pounded as she realized the gravity of the situation. She had never wanted to be involved in any of this, but now her and Jordan's lives were at stake. She took a deep breath, her voice steady as she spoke. "Whatever it takes. I'll do anything to protect my son." The days that followed were a whirlwind of strategy meetings, late-night phone calls, and constant surveillance. Maya became a key part of the operation, working closely with the police to ensure the criminal ring would be dismantled once and for all. Despite the fear and the uncertainty, she found a new strength, determined to fight for her future and for Jordan's safety. Maya had become a key witness in the case, and with her help, The police built a strong case against the criminal organization. But the danger was far from over. One night, as Maya and Jordan were settling in for bed, a loud crash echoed through the house. The front door had been kicked in. Masked men stormed inside. Maya's heart raced as she grabbed Jordan, pulling him close. They were here. The people Marcus had betrayed had found them. Just as the intruders advanced, the sound of sirens and flashing lights filled the street. Police officers swarmed the house, guns drawn, and within minutes the men were apprehended. Officer Collins was the first to rush inside. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice full of concern. Maya, still shaken but unharmed, nodded. "We're okay." In the days that followed, the criminal ring was dismantled, and Marcus was sentenced to life in prison. Maya's testimony had been vital in taking down the operation. In exchange, the police placed her and Jordan into witness protection, giving them a fresh start. Maya and Jordan were relocated to a new city, far from the dangers of their old life. They were given new identities, a new home, and a new beginning. For the first time in years, Maya felt free. The weight of fear and poverty had lifted. She had a future full of possibilities. Months passed, and Maya thrived in her new life. She completed her degree and became a social worker, helping families facing struggles similar to hers. Jordan excelled in his new school, finally able to live the carefree life every child deserves. One evening, as they sat together on the porch of their new home, watching the sunset, Jordan looked up at her. "Mom, we made it, didn't we?" Maya smiled, tears filling her eyes. "Yes, baby, we did." For the first time in a long time, she believed it. They hadn't just survived, they had triumphed. The road had been hard, but now their future was bright, full of hope and love. While Maya and Jordan settled into their new life, a sense of peace surrounded them. Yet, underneath it all, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that her past hadn't completely left her behind. Each morning as she walked Jordan to school, or as she sat with her coffee at the kitchen table, thoughts of Marcus and the criminal network they had escaped crept into her mind. It was a rainy Tuesday when the knock came at the door. Maya had been reviewing paperwork for her new job when the sound echoed through the house. She hesitated. The police had assured her that no one knew where they lived. Slowly, she approached the door. Through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside, drenched from the rain. He wore a black trench coat, his face obscured by a low hat. Maya's heart began to race. She didn't recognize him, but his presence filled her with unease. Taking a deep breath, she opened the door slightly, leaving the chain on. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice cautious. The man looked up, and Maya froze. It wasn't Marcus, but it was someone she hadn't seen in years. His face was thinner, gaunt, and desperation filled his eyes. He looked older, worn down by life. "Maya, I need your help," he said, his voice raspy and strained. Every instinct in Maya's body screamed at her to shut the door, lock it, and never look back. But something in the man's eyes stopped her. Maya felt the fear in Marcus's eyes. Against her better judgment, she unhooked the chain and opened the door a bit wider. "Why are you here?" she asked, a mix of confusion and anger in her voice. "You're supposed to be in prison." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I got out early, but not because of good behavior. They let me go because they knew I wouldn't survive long inside. The people I used to work for, the ones you helped take down, have connections everywhere. I was a dead man walking in that prison. I escaped, but now I have nowhere to go." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "Why come to me? I can't help you. You put me in danger in the first place." "I know," Marcus said, his face filled with regret. "I'm sorry, Maya, but you're the only one who knows what it's like to be caught in this mess. I need somewhere to hide, just until I figure out my next move." Maya's mind raced. She had fought hard to distance herself from Marcus and the dangerous world he was part of. Letting him back into her life, even for a moment, could undo everything she'd built. But there was desperation in his eyes, and she couldn't ignore it. "Please, Maya," Marcus begged, his voice cracking. "I have no one else." For a long moment, Maya didn't know what to say. She had always been strong, doing what was right for her and Jordan. But now Marcus was standing there, drenched and broken, pleading for help. "I can't let you stay here," Maya finally said, her voice firm. "I have a son, Marcus. I can't put him at risk." Marcus's face fell, but he nodded as if he had expected the answer. "I understand, but if you don't help me, I don't know how much longer I'll survive." Maya felt a pang of guilt, but she knew she had to protect her family. "There has to be someone else, a friend, a lawyer." "There's no one," Marcus whispered. Maya stood frozen in the doorway, torn between her sense of responsibility and the need to protect her new life. After what felt like an eternity, she made a decision. "I can't take you in, Marcus, but I'll help you get in touch with someone who can. I'll call Officer Collins. Maybe he can figure something out." Marcus's shoulders slumped, but he nodded. "Thank you, Maya. I didn't expect much, but thank you." Maya stepped back inside and grabbed her phone, dialing Officer Collins. As the phone rang, she kept her eyes on Marcus, who stood silently in the rain, his fate uncertain. "Collins," the familiar voice answered. "Officer Collins, it's Maya. Marcus is here at my door." There was a pause. "Keep him there. Don't let him leave. I'll be there in 10 minutes." Maya hung up and looked at Marcus. "Collins is on his way. Just wait." Marcus nodded but stayed silent, his eyes filled with emotions Maya couldn't quite place. Fear, regret, or something darker. When Officer Collins arrived, he approached Marcus cautiously, his hand resting on his holster. "Marcus, you're in a lot of trouble. Running only makes it worse." "I know," Marcus replied quietly, "but what choice do I have? They're going to kill me." Collins' expression softened slightly. "We can protect you, but you need to cooperate. No more running, no more hiding. Trust us." Marcus hesitated, glancing at Maya. "Can I trust you this time?" Collins nodded. "Yes, but you have to trust us first." Reluctantly, Marcus agreed to go with Collins. Maya watched from the doorway, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She wasn't sure if Marcus could ever truly escape his past, but in that moment, she hoped he might finally have a chance. Maya stood by the rain-soaked window as Marcus was escorted into Officer Collins' car. She watched them drive away, headlights cutting through the mist, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like her new life was truly beginning. Marcus, with all the chaos he brought into her life, was finally out of the picture, or so she hoped. Collins had promised to protect Marcus, and if anyone could keep him safe from the criminal network that once controlled him, it was Collins and his team. They had already done so much to clean up the streets and protect people like Maya and Jordan. But as Maya closed the door and sat down, a sense of unease lingered. Marcus had always been unpredictable, and the danger surrounding him didn't seem to fade even with his departure. Days passed, and life began to settle. Jordan was thriving at school, coming home with stories of new friends and teachers who adored him. Maya worked hard at her new job, gaining praise from her boss. It seemed at last that things were falling into place. But the shadow of Marcus's return hung over her, growing darker with each passing day. One evening, as Maya was preparing dinner, the phone rang. Wiping her hands, she answered. "Maya, it's Collins," came the familiar steady voice on the other end, though this time it was tinged with concern. Maya's stomach dropped. "Is everything okay?" Collins sighed. "Marcus is missing." Her heart raced. "What do you mean missing? You said you'd protect him." "We were," Collins replied, "but he disappeared from the safe house 2 nights ago. He was under constant surveillance, but somehow he slipped out. We've been searching for him ever since." Maya's panic began to rise. "Do you think they got him?" "We don't know. It's possible he's hiding, trying to figure things out on his own. But Maya, I need to warn you. If he's on the run and they know about you, they could come after you next." Maya's blood ran cold. "What should I do?" "I'm sending officers to watch your house, just in case," Collins assured her. "Be cautious. If anything seems off, call me immediately." After she hung up, Maya's mind raced. The idea that Marcus had disappeared and that dangerous people might come looking for him through her filled her with dread. She paced the kitchen, trying to calm her thoughts. She had to stay strong, not just for herself, but for Jordan. That night, Maya barely slept. Every creak in the house seemed amplified. Every passing car sent her heart racing. She lay there, straining to hear any unusual sounds, trying to convince herself everything would be okay. But deep down, she knew something was coming. Something bad. It was late, just a few days after Colin's call, when Maya heard a soft knock at the door. Her stomach twisted with dread, the same feeling she'd had when Marcus first showed up, but this time it was worse. Creeping to the door, she peered through the peephole. Standing outside was a tall man, dressed in all black with a hood covering his face. Though she couldn't see his eyes clearly, the menace in his stance was undeniable. Maya could feel the stranger's eyes burning through the door. Her hands shook as she backed away, her mind racing. This wasn't a coincidence. He had come for Marcus, and possibly for her. She grabbed her phone, quickly dialing Officer Collins. "Collins, someone's at my door," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Stay calm, Maya," Collins said, his voice sharp and alert. "Lock the door, don't answer it. I'm sending officers now. Stay on the line with me." Maya locked the door and moved quietly toward the back of the house where Jordan was playing. She couldn't let her son see her panic. The knocking grew louder and more insistent. Whoever was outside wasn't leaving. Maya held Jordan close, whispering, "It's okay, baby. We're safe." But she wasn't so sure. The man outside seemed determined, and Maya felt like he wouldn't leave until he got what he wanted. Minutes felt like an eternity as Maya waited for the police. Every thud on the door made her heart race, and her grip on Jordan tightened. She whispered soft reassurances to him, but inside, fear screamed through her mind. Finally, after what felt like a lifetime, the faint sound of sirens cut through the tension. The man must have heard them too, because the knocking suddenly stopped. Silence followed, which was almost as terrifying as the noise. Was he still out there? When the police arrived, they searched the area but found no sign of the man. Officer Collins came inside, his face grim. "We need to move you and Jordan to a safe location," he said, leaving no room for debate. Maya nodded, knowing her life had been thrown into chaos once again. Whatever was coming, she had to face it head-on, just as she always had. The next morning, Maya and Jordan were relocated to a safe house on the outskirts of town, guarded by police. Maya had never felt so vulnerable, yet so determined to protect her son. Deep down, she knew the danger wasn't over. The man who had come to her door wouldn't stop until he found Marcus. And if she didn't find Marcus first, they were all in danger. Maya realized there was only one option left. She had to confront Marcus. She had to find out what he had done, why he had disappeared, and what he knew about the people coming after him. If she didn't, they might never be safe. This time, Maya wasn't going to be a victim. She was going to take control of the situation and protect her family. Maya lay awake in the safe house that night, her mind racing. Jordan slept peacefully beside her, unaware of the storm brewing around them. Maya knew that staying hidden wouldn't solve anything. The man who knocked on her door wouldn't give up. He would keep hunting until he found Marcus, and in the process, destroy everything she had worked so hard to build. She couldn't let that happen again. As the moonlight filtered through the curtains, Maya made a decision. She was done waiting for others to protect her. She would find Marcus herself and end this nightmare before it spiraled any further. With renewed determination, she quietly slipped out of bed, making sure not to wake Jordan, and grabbed her phone. She needed answers, and she knew exactly where to start.